Okay, looks like we're live. All right. Hello everyone. I am Verde Arbusto, and this is the Schumann Resonance Harmonics channel on Facebook and YouTube. It is the 2nd of August, 2020. This is the third part of an introduction to the how to read the Schumann Resonance Harmonics report, and we are at the point of I've already discussed basically the dependencies, talked a little bit about the antenna, and so I'm going to jump right into the text here, and I'm going to pause. I'm going to jump into the text here, basically where I was at before. So we have the 4 modes of operation. Boop. Okay. 4 modes of operation. I'm going to try and scoot in here so we can get a better view. All right. So you can't really see much of what's going on here. All right. So a mode is essentially a band or bandwidth of measurement within the EMF spectrum. Oh, sorry about that. Let's see if I can scoot in a little bit better on this. Okay. All right. We got quality essentially. All right. So it's not letting me get a better view of this, but the 4 modes. A mode is basically a way of dividing up into fractions or segments that are relative to each other. So your first mode, which is quality, Q1, the signal is broken from 4.7, 5.7, 6.7, 7.7, 8.7, 9.7. All right. So 4.7 to 9.7. Then over here, quality 2, the same spectrum goes 4 to 6 to 8, 11, 2, 13, 6 to 16. And then quality 3. These are the modes. When we talk about the modes, the spectrograph is plotted based on the modes, or these 12 reporting dependencies. So this starts, if I can scoot in on it. Actually, hold on, let me pause this again. Okay, so it's not letting me scoot in to get a better, clear picture of this, but we have the Russian station has 4 modes. Other stations have more modes based on the height of the frequency that they're looking for. Based on the upper bandwidth, some are 60 to 70 hertz frequency that they're getting out into. As we have seen earlier, the designation in meteorological science of the ELF, the lowest band, is 3 to 60 hertz. All right, so keep that in mind. All right. So what is the ELF portion of the spectrum? This is a bit confusing relative to the Schumann resonances. It's depending on who's doing the measuring. Schumann resonances, all right, this is a quote, Schumann resonances are the principal background in the part of the electromagnetic spectrum from 3 hertz through 60 hertz and appear as distinct peaks at extremely low frequencies, ELF, around 7.83 hertz, that's fundamental. Then you have 14.3, then you have 20.8, then there's 27.3, and then 30.8. These are according to the meteorological sciences, and that's by Volin in his handbook of Blase. Given the link to that elsewhere, and I will put the link to Volin's handbook of meteorological science in this link, assuming I remember. Okay. Now, these are from Wikipedia. All right. So this is actually, I'm going to scoot out here. Boop, boop, boop. All right. So ELF waves, I'm reading over here, extremely low frequency is the ITU designation for, and I forget what ITU stands for electromagnetic radiation, radio waves, with frequencies from 3 to 30 hertz and corresponding wavelengths of 100,000 to 10,000 kilometers respectively. Okay, this is from Wikipedia. ELF radio waves are generated by lightning and natural disturbances in Earth's magnetic field. So they are a subject of research by atmospheric scientists. In atmospheric science, an alternative definition is usually given from 3 hertz to 3,000 hertz, or that's 30 kHz. All right, so that's atmospheric scientists will rate it from 3 hertz to 3,000 hertz, and that's quite a bit for electric magnetic frequencies. All right, in the the related magnetosphere science. All right, in the related magnetosphere science, the lower frequency electromagnetic oscillations, which are pulsations occurring below 3 hertz, are considered to lie in the ULF range, which is also defined differently from the ITU radio bands. All right, so I'm going to put this on full screen, bam, so you can see that. Okay, I'm going to show this here. Okay, this is an example of a mode. Okay, and that says right here, note 3, the nomenclature used for designated frequencies in the field of telecommunications may be extended to cover the ranges shown below, as is proposed by the International Union of Radio Science, and that's URSA. See Table 2. All right, so this is Table 2 here. Okay. I'd like this to be seen clearly. Okay, we're taking a moment of silence to read the chart, if you will. Okay, back to where we were. Sort of, kind of. Sort of, kind of. All right. Sort of, kind of. Okay, we're going up, 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 up. All right. All right, so that was Table 2 showing the distinctions between the modes within the ELF bandwidth. That source is ITU. I'll have to give the link in the basement. Okay, so there are numerous ways frequency bands have been designated. The International International Telecommunications Union designates bands as listed in the table below. All right, well, that was, all right, there's no table. Okay, frequencies as, all right, so you have extremely low frequency propagation waves are 3 to 30 height, 30, The ITU designation of extremely low frequency, ELF, propagation is 3 to 30 hertz, frequency 3 to 30 hertz, and a wavelength of, as we said, 100,000 kilometers to 10,000 kilometers. The SLF, which is the super low frequency, is 30 hertz to 300 hertz, and that's a wavelength from 10,000 kilometers to 1,000 kilometers. Then you have the band of the ULF, which is the ultra low frequency. The frequency is 300 hertz to 3 kilohertz. The wavelength size would be 1,000 kilometers to 100 kilometers. And the last one, the ULF, ultra low frequency, ultra low frequency, it operates at 300 hertz to 3,000 hertz. The wavelength is 100 kilometers to 10 kilometers. Okay. All right, so there is also approaches. Okay, so here's a note. There's also other approaches to designated frequency bands. During World War II, certain radar bands were given code words or code letters, so engineers could talk about them without divulging their actual frequency. They were deliberately non-sequential. After the war, the secrecy was lifted. The Institute of Electronics and Electronics Engineers, IEEE, has published a standard for the letter designations of radio frequency bands. These codes are used by some engineers for radar, satellite, and terrestrial communications. All right. So let me go on further with the 12 dependencies. This next section, explaining the use of modes, is difficult without numbers and specific technical data. It's necessary, but I'm going to try to lay off as much technical stuff as I can and keep it in the basic context to balance the technical and specific needs with it being able to be readable and digestible. So basically, we see the modes as bandwidths, or the separations similar to octaves, if you will, of the entire spectrum of EMF. In other words, it means a breaking down of the entire spectrum of EMF waves, which span the whole range of the ELF frequency range. All right. So that's essentially 3 to 30 hertz, or 3 to 60 hertz, depending on who's talking and who's doing the measuring. The Tomsk in Russia, they have their, I'm going to scoot this out a little, just to kind of change the view. Okay. So Tomsk in Russia has theirs set to 40 hertz. They're just capped off at 40 hertz. In Italy, at the CEIN, or I'm sorry, it's, the acronym is CIEN, which is the Central Italy, it's Italian, Evaluation Network or something. I forget what the E stands for. But they go up to 60 hertz and beyond. I think they measure up to like 120 hertz. They go crazy, but I know they're at least at 60. They have, in Italy, there is a 50 hertz notch because of the local electrical interference from the power lines. Okay. That's important to note that they have a 50. Theirs is 50 because the European power grid is 50 hertz. So they have a notch. It shows up as a line, a pretty dedicated line at 50 hertz. Okay, so white is mode 1. This correlates with the highest layer of the ionosphere furthest away from the planet. Highest frequency of the lowest range energy where the resonances reside. Okay. Yellow is mode 2, which measures a lower frequency range or bandwidth than white mode. Red is yellow 3, which measures successively a lower range of bandwidth than the yellow. And 4, green is mode 4, the lowest frequency but largest in wavelength between 10,000 to 100,000 kilometer in wavelength sizes. Okay. So that was as simple as I can make it without getting technical at all. And if you got something out of that was useful, good. Again, this is just sort of an introduction. All right, so plotting the spectrograph. Okay, and we're going to scoot our spectrograph down. All right, there we go. Okay, so plotting our spectrograph. That's our spectrograph. All right. So due to the abilities of the antenna to pick up only certain signals, these colors are going to appear in certain recognizable patterns based upon the type of signal, whether it is more of electric content or more magnetic in content. For example, the bright green shows up largely as bands due to the fact that it is exhibiting the characteristics of magnetic waves and the heaviest of the electric waves, which would be closest to the magnetics. Depending on where and how the EMF signal interacts with the antenna and how it's amplified and what kind of filters are on, etc., this is the type of mark which is going to be plotted on the spectrograph effectively. In other words, white and yellow frequency appear as spikes or vertical lines due to the high content of electric charge, and the fact that this is how the antenna pick up the amplitude/charge/electrics. White and yellow modes are more heavy in electric content of both the amplitude and of the quality. Red and green modes measure the layers closest to Earth. Green measures the layer of EMF waves which occupy the space between Earth and the lowest layer of the ionosphere. Ultimately, the ionosphere acts as a filter of sorts which forces the bouncing or return characteristics of the various wavelengths. Because the green is high in magnetic content, the green-based colors are going to be magnetic and display horizontally to reflect the orientation of the reporting dependencies of quality. We would see an upright or vertical signal in quality. Okay, so these are the uprights. These are your horizontals right here. Okay, so you see these are high in electrics, right? See these matching? And again, this is a flip side. This is inverted from that. The 0 point is up at the top here, the 0 point is down at the bottom there. So you see these are inversely related here. And you see how you see the exact signal. It starts at 11, it comes down, peaks back up, blah, 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 and then it goes down here, and it's got this little kind of nugget here as it's coming down. The white's sort of out of the way, and the yellow, you're left with yellow and orange. See, these are what I'm calling mid-grade. Because the green is out of the way there, you see this? You can't even really see it. But the green is out of the way of this, so you're getting the white, the more mid-grains, and green is out of the way, so it's all over here. It's all surrounding it of the peak. All right. So the colors of, all right, hold on. Because the green is high magnetic content, it's going to be based closest in the magnetics and display horizontally. Generally, the green displays horizontally, and you would not generally expect to see spikes of green. Okay. You see, all right. So the colors teal, aqua, and turquoise, and this indiglow here. I love how the camera shows this indiglow. Okay, these are teal here, teal, turquoise, all in there. Now this right here is a band of green, you can see that. However, this right here, I'm calling this mid-grade electrics because they're yellow-orange. They're not green, you can see, they're not yellow and orange. Or, I'm sorry, you can see they're not green, they're yellow and orange. All right, so the teals, the turquoise in here is not the mode 4, it's not the green mode. Okay. Despite what the color theory tells you, right? Turquoise and aqua and teal are not, for the purposes of the Schumann analysis, part of a green mode. Green is green. It's that simple. Green is green. If it's not spot on green, it is turquoise, it is teal, it is aqua, it is something other than green. So the colors teal, aqua, turquoise, all in there. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, are not in the green family, but they are the product of interaction with the background of mode 1 and 2, white and yellow. So what you're seeing here, the indiglow is a whitening of that navy. And then you see here, white and yellow is what gives you this, white and yellow. And then you have some green in there. Right? And then you have definitely a green in there, but we're starting to get into the... you see, this is not, you compare this, there's no electrics here, okay? There's nothing. There's no reason, there's no amplitude here. This is all the stacking right here. You see, and then the peak, you have this white peak here, which is offset by a green, okay? You usually wouldn't expect to see a green spike, but we do have green spikes. That's because what I'm suggesting is this is a reverb from the Earth. This is a response. This magnetics is a response when you have no amplitude coming in. There's a little tiny amplitude, but big-ass spike in the magnetics. All right. So you have, okay, so the teal and the aqua is the coming down from above, basically. This is not caused by lightning. This is caused from beyond the Schumann way high. We're at 40 hertz here. So all of this, and the indiglow is white. You see it's speckling in white, peaking. There's activity white, the yellow. If I'm getting anything from this, right? Like, I mean, sometimes I look and I'm like, is it this a product of what's happening down here? I don't, sometimes I'm like, really? But then we look down here, all right? I don't want to point something out. Frequency. Look at what's jumping around. I'm going to zoom out a little here. Don't let me regret this. All right, so I will scoot in here with this. All right. So it may be a little bit hard to tell here, but we're seeing this here is a result of frequency. Okay, and I'm looking in the camera to see if you can really see this, but it's hard to tell. The reason that I put these thumbnails on the front of the video is so that you can refer to them as I'm kind of going along. And you have at least one good shot of what I'm using here in the class, quote unquote the class, so we all can see what's happening here. Okay, so the yellow and white is going down, as it were. Okay, from the top down. So 40 hertz right here is coming from the top down. It's coming from out of our ionosphere. The green into red, is bottom going up. The white and yellow, this indiglow, is from the top down. And I don't know a better way to say that. Okay. The red and yellow make orange, pumpkin, rust. When mixed with white, we get a coral or a pink. These integrate mid-grade electronics. Fairly balanced with magnetics. This is why orange rust colors seem to float in the air of the chart, but around a harmonics resonance. Looking at the left wall of the chart, once again, we see the resonance frequencies demarcated into 4 hertz segments. The horizontal band streaming across the width. All right, so the horizontal band streaming across the width of the spectrum these are proper Schumann resonances. Okay. These harmonics here are the proper Schumann resonances. These upright spikes are not proper Schumann resonances. Okay, not by theory, by standard Schumann theory. Okay. The fact these appear proudly as our fundamentals. All right, so Schumann resonances appear as our fundamentals of 4, way down here 4. Then you have 8, approximately 14, approximately 22, approximately 27. Okay, so I don't think Schumann had ever seen past 27 hertz resonant frequency in his life. I don't know, but we're seeing it now. At these bands, the resonant frequency, one sees the color activity of the harmonic resonances. Their individual mix of colors tells the behavior of the harmonics relative to the amplitude or the quality. Amplitude is electric, quality is magnetics. Okay. All right, so more specifics will be discussed in future sessions of the Schumann Resonance Harmonics group. Thank you for reading. Thank you for following along with the reports. This looks like the end of part 3, among other things, because my text is done, but the camera is getting ready to shut off soon. Okay, so please leave comments and feedback in the comment section. I would like to have a gauge of how to improve the reports. If you have some constructive criticism to give, please give it, but also temper it with what you liked and what you didn't like. I'm really only want to hear positive comments, but I do want to hear from people about their subjective experiences with anything like the ringing, the high frequency pitch or squeal people have in their head, or the vertigo related kind of symptoms that people are having. Please leave comments in the notes. We would like to maybe tabulate symptoms that people are hearing and coordinate times that they're happening relative to the Schumann harmonics. Okay, so thank you all for being here today. I appreciate everyone coming here. Thank you all, Wages World, and your supporters. I very much appreciate everyone being here and giving me feedback. I've had a lot of great comments and compliments and discussions with people. And just remember that this is a world of illusion, and one of those illusions is what they do with people in prison, and they suicide them and then say that it was the person committed suicide. So if you're getting the impression that I'm saying Epstein didn't kill himself, then yes, that's exactly what you should take away. That the most heavily guarded prison in all of the freaking world, no one is able to commit suicide. No one. And not with the pumpkin jumpsuits, at any rate. All right, so I'm not getting political. My time is done. Sorry I don't have a joke. Well, maybe the Epstein thing was the joke for the day. In a high-security prison, no one commits suicide ever, unless there's a political motivation to get rid of that person. Anyway, so on that cheery note, thank you all for coming today. I appreciate your time and helping me learn more about the Schumann harmonics. Please leave comments, and if you like this, thumbs up, and please tell people to come over and check out my work. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time and you being here. Have a great rest of your day. Namaste.